Hey everybody, welcome to the Combo Wombo podcast. I am your host, Mr. Gimpy, with the one, the only, the Chip. Let me take a sip of my soda before I finish this intro. Chipmunk, what's up, bro?
Dang, what's up, though?
I got a case of dry mouth like right then. You know,
Dang, it's a long name. It's a long intro, dude.
it is, dude. It is. How you
Pulling
been,
the whole
man?
time. Doing great.
It's awesome,
Really,
bro.
really good, man. How about you?
You know, man.
I look
Can't
how you're
complain.
like taken by surprise that I'd ask you. You're like, hold on, let me think. Yeah, I can't complain. All right, man.
Can't complain. You know, life's good. Using you as a as like a as
Just
like
call
a
me a
goal to
stepping
reach.
stone.
I didn't mean a stepping stone. I meant like a goal to reach. You know
No,
what I mean?
okay,
For like
yeah,
your,
sure. You're on the shoulders of the giant chip.
yeah,
I get it.
yeah. For like your continued progress in the platformer game you made. You know, it's like, man, this man's grinding
This
in his
dude's
free
leaping
time.
over me like crouching tiger, hidden dragon, dude.
Exactly, dude. You're like Chow Yun Fat, dude. Just
Yeah.
running on the trees, man. You got the green destiny all to yourself, man. It's ridiculous.
Jump over me and take it, dude.
Exactly, dude.
Plenty of
Exactly.
green destinies to go around for everybody, dude. We're trying to start a whole Shaolin temple, dude.
But yeah, man. It's been a good week. You know, it's been a busy week at work, but it's been a productive week in the terms of game dev, and then just living. You know, just living. It's been a good week, man.
Get a chance to play any video games?
I did actually. You know, this week at the time of recording is the Steam Next Fest. So there's been some interesting demos out. Nothing really super interesting in the VR space, but as far as like the general games, there's been some interesting stuff. Probably top of the list for a lot of people. Especially those who watch Twitch, is Dark and Darker has a multiplayer demo out.
Oh, yeah. Did you play any of it?
Yeah. It's a very very fun extraction shooter. The fact that the combat's clunky by design, but very it's like location based damage and things like that.
Yeah.
3-man squads that can go into the dungeon, and they added solo dungeons as well.
It's about time, dude.
Yeah. The game.
I tried it out.
What'd you think?
It's all right. I don't get all the hype. Me personally, like it's I don't know, it's okay. It's just okay.
Game where how long did you play?
I just played like one or two matches, man.
Okay.
Which probably isn't enough to give like any real critique or thoughts on it. But like from the 2 games I played, I wasn't like, I need more of this. Like I was just like, I still don't get the hype.
Did you get into PvP the first time?
Yeah. I was playing with the squad, dude, of goons, dude. We're destroying people. We took out like 3 or 4 squads.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it a lot because of the clunkiness. When everyone's on the same level, you know, and you're kind of just the combat's that visceral, it works well. I don't know if I enjoy it solo though, because even with the solo dungeon, I just wasn't having the best time. But that just might be a me thing and not the game thing, because no one else has that problem that I've talked to who actually enjoy the game. But so far the devs, shout out to those guys, man. They released 4 hot fixes in the matter of this Steam Next Fest, and it's the TLC in the game from the last playtest to this really shows the balance is top notch. I didn't feel one class was hands down better than the other. I think the last playtest, I think the Ranger was a little OP, but this time like just the tweaks they made felt really nice. I'm looking forward to that game's full release. I think there's another playtest coming after the next fest, and it's a nice alternative to the Tarkovs, the Cycles of the world. There's a space in this extraction shooter genre for everyone. We got Zero Sievert, which is basically single-player Tarkov. That's a top-down 2D game, which I thought was unique as hell. There's Dark and Darker, the Cycle for like a more casual Tarkov-style game, but sci-fi. And we also have, of course, Escape from Tarkov. So I think the extraction shooter is definitely popular right now, but it's still this the genre, the subgenre has room to grow. And Dark and Darker, Zero Severed, Call of Duty has the mode, as well, that
I
really
feel
shows
that
it. So
like I feel that
DMZ.
they're being held back by like the RPG mechanics of it, like the extraction style games. It
Oh,
almost
okay.
starts to feel a little bit like Diablo-esque, where you're like just looking for like slightly better and better loot. I feel like you could like mitigate all that by just having it be like treasure, like
But
with
what's the
capital.
point if not to raise your own character's
That's the
strength?
thing, though. It's like you just have it be like power ups, like like
Okay.
shards or something, like weapon shard or armor shards that you're
Okay.
extracting. So it's like you don't necessarily, and then like you could have, I guess, maybe full gear drops, but I feel like that kind of also, eh,
So you'd
you
rather
know,
have it be materials that you go into like a hub world to create that.
yeah, upgrade your stuff,
Okay.
and like you choose what you upgrade, and you can
I
buy
think that's
more
just a
stuff.
just that's a different way to approach it, man. Maybe
Yeah,
would hold
but
on to that idea.
I think like what happens for me in these type of games is like you get in there and then like every little piece of loot, much like Diablo, is like you start looking at and reading the stats. And you're like, oh, this one has this modifier, this one doesn't, and then I don't know, it takes away a little bit of the excitement of like being in there running around like a rat,
Yeah. See, my excitement doesn't come from the loot. It comes from the player combat.
Yeah,
Because
same. That's but I know
yeah,
there's like a whole subgroup of people that love Diablo
yeah,
style, like just get our loot, get better, or I don't know, when your torchlight people out
yeah.
there,
Sure. It's an
That's all I'm
interesting way.
saying.
It's an
There's
interesting
like
way to put it.
for me, like, yeah, I just feel like if you can like streamline the loot part a bit more, just for like that more visceral combat, like everybody's hunting me, I'm hunting everyone.
Yeah.
Get as much as you can, get your pockets filled. I think there's
Yeah.
something to that.
I think I was thinking of if we took a stab at an extraction shooter, I would combine it with like boomer shooter aesthetics. I hate the term boomer shooter, but everyone knows what I'm talking about when I mention it.
The
Um,
90s.
so if we have like a 90s style shooter with that style, but the main hook, that speed of a 90s style
Okay.
thing, right? I think that would be very interesting, with like larger levels, jump pads and shit. And we would have like the treasure boxes to go into. But I like your idea of having it just be shards so you can get like weapons, armor, things like that. I think that'd be
Yeah,
very
maybe like
interesting.
even XP, like you get
Sure.
XP and you kill people, you get XP from that. You
Sure,
could have
sure.
other like monsters and stuff, your Doom monsters in there.
Yeah. How I would do it is like movement, like player perks for the XP would be like player perks for like double jumping, jump dodges, things like that.
Yeah,
And then you could like build armor, which would be like you would see it on your body, but it'd be like Quake style, where it's like you get the shards, you get a bunch, you can go to like an altar or some shit, and then create the armor, which is like a 25 piece, 50 piece, or whatever. You can see it on your character to mitigate damage. You could have weapon shards that you could see. My thing is if you can build it within the level and then extract with it to bring
yeah.
it next time, that'd be perfect. And everyone could like jump in with either the weapons that they made, and everyone gets like a starting gun that's randomized from 3. This is my idea for an extraction shooter, and,
I
and,
feel
and
like,
combining it with yours for the things, I think that could work very well.
yeah, man, why not? I know the guys who made the game Paladins had like that battle royale game where they had like elements like that, where it's like they had like
Mm,
forges in there where like you had to like craft armor stuff, but you couldn't extract it. It was just like you just got it just for like
yeah.
that round.
Hmm.
Uh, which
But
yeah,
I think
I don't know.
extracting it would be cool.
Yeah, man, you got to build up an arsenal.
Yeah, man. So maybe we could do something with that whenever we join forces,
Yeah.
because you're talking about making a boomer shooter. I wanted to get back into the 3D level design, man. This might be a cool little
This might be the
idea.
time.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah. Save it for posterity.
that's right. Add it to the pile of things you gotta get done, man.
Exactly. So
You
what have
play
you been up
anything
to, man?
else?
You've
I
you
played
no,
a little of
yeah.
that.
Go
I
for
played a little
you.
of the Dark and Darker, and then I played some King of Fighters with the Professor.
Ah, how'd that go? He told me he played with you.
Yeah, he whooped my ass, dude. He was like, he tried to
I
catch
whooped
his head,
his
like,
ass.
to put full circle.
It did.
Nice, man.
Yeah. He asked me. He goes. Is King of Fighters 13 any good? I was like, it's amazing, dude. Go ahead and buy it. He's like, thanks. And then I was like, you trying to get that ass beat? He's like, I'm right here, motherfucker.
Hey, the way he told it was completely different to me. It was like he hit up McScuddy, the Gimp, and he was like, "Hey, you trying to catch some hands? You trying to get washed out?" Just the way he's told the story, man.
Mm. He
Yeah,
didn't
I
tell you
played
how it
some of
ended
that.
though.
No, he didn't. I just heard how it began. No, I did.
Yeah. It's pretty great. It's pretty great. I had a good time.
Started and then you finished it. Apparently.
Exactly. And I was playing.
Yeah.
I was playing on the Steam Deck in bed too. That's the. I don't know if that's like more of an insult to him, but that's what happened. So
All right.
it's good times,
Is there
man.
any
It's
cool
good
stuff
times.
coming out for the Steam Deck? I know that saw like the Nintendo Direct happen. I watched that.
Yeah. Or actually, the other game that I played that don't
Oh,
want to forget, Hi-Fi Rush. It is
the hell is
a
that?
it's a 3D action slasher game.
Oh,
In the vein of like DMC, Bayonetta, and
yeah,
all that.
you're hyped for
But
this game.
yeah. But with rhythm game stuff. So the boss fight, like the first boss fight, it's a Nine Inch Nails song, and when you attack on beat, you do more damage, and
Yeah.
like your specials and stuff are done with the beat. That game is phenomenal. That's the other game I played. I can't believe I
Nice.
forgot to mention it, but fucking great, dude. And it came out of nowhere. It dropped. Like Xbox had their event, and then they dropped that game same day, and didn't. There's no real marketing for it, and it has like an overwhelming positive rating on Steam. It's on Game Pass as well. It runs perfectly on the Steam Deck at 60 frames,
Oh,
so that is what
there you
came out on the
go.
Steam Deck. That is really cool.
Nice, man. Yeah, it's weird. Like I've been, sending you links and stuff, and
Hmm.
we talked about it a little bit one time on this pod, like a couple episodes ago. But like, there's been a lot of like games that people have just been like throwing out to the ether, and they're like, I don't understand why this isn't a success, man. And
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, dude, it's a huge market, man. It's crazy. Like, you can put out like a really good game, and like nobody's gonna hear about it because like there's just so many other really good games. Like,
yeah.
just is what it is.
Yeah, no, what's interesting about Hi-Fi Rush is the people who made The Evil Within made it. So
Oh,
it's like a huge fucking it's
it's
a
a
way different genre for it. So that's pretty
palate
cool.
cleanser for that studio, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, I guarantee it was, man. It seems like a passion project, and whenever you get passion projects from even like bigger studios that have made a AAA game, you can really it's such a funny thing when because all art is subjective, right? But I
Yeah.
think that even with it being subjective, if you take something that someone's really passionate about, I think that comes through in the art, and I get that feeling playing Hi-Fi Rush. You know what I mean? It wasn't like a cash grab game, so.
Yeah. The
We
big
lost Chess
cash.
Gamer. There he is.
Are we in here? Got a
Yeah, there
little
we go.
lag.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Well, Nintendo Direct. They didn't have too many new games coming out. Look like they're dropping a new Pikmin. I know
Yeah, Pikmin 4. Hell yeah.
people love Pikmin. I don't know. I never was huge into like the GameCube or anything, so it kind of missed me. Like, I don't know.
I
I
love
got to
Pikmin.
that point where I was too cool for school. And at a certain point, I was like, Nintendo's for babies.
So you played
I'm
Overlord instead.
yeah, you know,
Ooh,
yeah.
sure.
It's like PlayStation 2. Oof. So, caught me reminiscing, dude. There's a lot of DLC announced. I think they keep on teasing that new Zelda game.
Yep,
It's like,
that actually has a release date now,
yeah, that's huge.
which that'll be big. Metroid Prime remastered
Yeah.
dropped as well.
They
Metroid Prime, one of the best games ever, so definitely pick it up if you've never played it, and if you have played it, still pick it up because it's great.
they announced like a bunch of old Game Boy games. They're
Yeah,
coming.
for the Switch Online, yep. But I
Yeah.
think it's too late for that, you
Yeah.
know?
It's really such a small offering where I was like, I feel more insulted. They're like, we have a bunch of Game Boy games coming. There's like four of
Oh,
them. They're like, and some
here's the
Game
big
Boy
one.
Advance games, and there's like three of them, and you're like,
Yeah.
all right, well,
Here's a big one I thought. For me anyway. I love the Advance Wars series, right? And the Advance
yeah.
Wars 1 and 2 rebooted or whatever was delayed because of the war in Ukraine. Um, so now that actually has a release date, and it wasn't going to happen at first, but now it has online multiplayer as well, which
Nice.
I'm excited about. Not to just battle with other people, which I will, but I love those games, and I'm really excited to introduce like a tactic style game to my kids, especially my daughter, because she's getting of that age where she's kind of understanding like bigger board games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or card games that have like a rigid set of rules. So I'd like to introduce that to her, just because it's a cutesy style and all that. Because I was playing Pit People. Shout out the Behemoth, my favorite indie devs, and that's like a tactical combat game. And my daughter really liked the art for that, so she was just watching me play it. So excited for some
Nice,
Advance
man.
Wars. Yeah, dude.
Get the Advanced Wars in you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. There's a couple other ones. Metroid, I think, was on there too, right?
Yep, that's what. I mentioned it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
That's the one I was a little bit excited for. Uh, yeah. Yeah, it's not a ton of stuff, but there's stuff.
I think it was a
Nintendo's doing
solid
things.
direct overall. I think that you can tell that the Switch's life. This is towards the end of the Switch's life cycle. Which is fine.
Yeah.
It's about time.
It's getting a little long in the tooth. I know they're trying to do some stuff on the software side to like get more juice out of that hardware.
Mhm.
And they've been working on that a lot, but that was one thing that I saw, like is it Xenogears, Xeno
Yeah,
Chronicles,
yeah, 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 yeah.
whatever. That's like kind of their huge flagship now for Nintendo. It's like they do so much with that engine,
Yep.
and that team like helps out other teams like
Yeah.
to like get the most out. So
Yeah.
yeah, they had like some DLC 2 coming, and I
Yep.
was like, oh, hey.
Yep. Oh yeah. New Mario Kart 8 DLC as well. Wave 2 or Wave 3 or whatever was announced as well. So
Yeah.
so
So what's her name from 2 was in it?
oh
Berta.
yes, Birdo. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Good shit. Good shit.
Yeah.
Man.
There you
But
go. For all the Birdo stands out there, dude.
there's no Birdo stands.
You don't say that, dude. They'll come out of the woodwork.
They come out. They're like the fucking beehive for
Yeah,
Beyonce.
dude.
It's like, Birdo.
Just showing up.
Right? We're gonna get fucking canceled.
That's right, dude.
But yeah, dude, what have you been up working on, man? How's the game deving going?
It's been going pretty decent. It's been slow and steady. I find myself like straying more and more away from the project and like wanting to do new stuff. I don't
It's
know
because you're getting
what that
close to
is.
the end.
It might be. And like the end's like so much work that it's like it's much easier to just start with like a fresh canvas and do something else.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
so I've been trying to power through this end part. Like
That's
I know I find myself like when I'm in Trench Room, I'm like, all right, let me try and make a Doom map, or let
yeah.
me try and make like some you know piece tile sets for like a game instead that like
Yeah.
has nothing to do with this game.
Yeah.
I've been
At this point, milestones, man. Make milestones for yourself. Put
yeah.
it somewhere physically where you can see it. You know.
Okay, yeah.
And then make yourself like a deadline. For this. So then you can just start ticking boxes. So you can still do your palette cleanser, but then you're still making progress in the game. That exactly where you are is what I did this all the time. It's where I was, and before I made deadlines for myself, I would never get anything done. So
I need to
that was
start
like
doing
my
something.
trick. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I think like having the end near and like I think that's the other thing is like I feel like I just don't have like enough free time. Like I want to just like power through the end as well. Or I'm
yeah.
like, if I could just take like a solid week and just like finish this up, that'd be
Mhm.
ideal. But I have like work and
Yeah,
other
yeah.
things in
Life,
life, you know?
life. Yeah,
Yeah. So I'm
yeah.
like, it's just like in the back of my head, I'm like, I could probably finish this up in like a week. But then I know like the reality is like this will probably take like another month to like
Mhm.
finish. And that just I don't know. It just kind of irks me. It just feels like a tedious task that needs to be complete, you know?
It's a marathon, not a sprint, though, man. That's
Yeah.
all it is.
Yeah.
Very true. But yeah, man, you've been just grinding away. So, like I said, I envy the position you're in
Yeah.
to have so much done and then to see the finish line and just not feeling like doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think I just
Or be
have
motivated to do it, I should say.
I finished up like some of those levels I sent you last night. So
Yeah.
I've like the first three like what I'm doing is like three like platformer based like levels, then like a Crash Bandicoot style level, then three more platformers, then like another Crash.
Okay.
And the two levels I finished are that second series. So I got like the first three done, the first Crash, and then I got the next three and the next Crash done. And so then I want like one last series of that for like the harder difficulties. There'll be like three more like castle style levels, and then like one final like Crash style level at the end.
Sure.
Uh,
Sure.
so yeah, like like 3/4 done with the game.
Yeah.
Also
Yeah.
been debating on like what type of combat system to put in here, and been just thinking about that.
Okay.
I don't even at one
You
point I
don't
was like, I
really,
don't know.
yeah, don't need
I'm like,
combat,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, eh.
One thing that I read recently, I got a couple of like game design books and then like physical books,
Yeah.
and
Dusty tomes.
one thing I was reading was if good ideas happen all the time, when you're in the middle of a project, just depending on how far along in the project you are, evaluate it. If you really want to try it, when you're done, add it to like a list of things that you thought would be a good idea, but don't go far away from your original scope. And then once you're
Yep.
done with your original scope, look at those ideas, quick prototype them to see if it's viable. If not, just make safe for the next project. You know, so
Yeah. I've
so
been, I feel like I've been doing a lot of that just naturally because I know
mhm.
uh, that there's like a lot of like little hiccups you'll get along the way. And I've just been powering through that by being like, I'm going to get better at this the more I do it. Like, don't worry about this, you know?
Yep, yep.
I need to just start writing down ideas as well. I think there's like a lot of like you said, there's something about like when you're doing like something like this where like new ideas will just kind of creep in. It's like a weird like ideation, creative, I don't
Hmm.
know, flow state you get into.
Yep.
And I just need to learn to like be able to pause and just like dump that shit out of my head because like what's happening is like it's just kind of staying in my head for like days at a time, and then like new shit's creeping in, and since like you have ideas on top of ideas, I'm like, God damn, dude, get this out. So that's I think giving me like weird pressure that doesn't exist. You know,
I see that. Yeah,
it's all the
yeah,
ideas like jockeying for space, dude.
for sure,
They're
for sure. Yeah, that
like creeping
can be
in.
tough.
I don't know about you, man. You making any progress on the game front?
I am. It's been good. I showed you right before you started this pod what I made at the laundromat when I was waiting
Yeah,
for my comforters to get done. I just had the kids. So best laid plans, don't always work out. So my plan was to work on the auto runner at the laundromat. So I used my work laptop, loaded up Game Maker Studio 2, and what I thought was the right files, but it was like a build from months ago. So I was like,
yeah,
I would have been effectively starting from scratch. So what else can I do? So I found free assets online, and I made a two-player battle game with my kids to
nice.
distract them at the laundromat. So I showed you we shot like
Yeah.
fireballs at each
It's pretty
other,
brutal, man. Like people are
and
exploding in like bloods, like mist bloods, and their skeletons and stuff, dude. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So I made that in like a hour and a half. Simple battle system, and just used the keyboard controls. My kids had a blast with it. They're like challenging each other. They challenged me. So that felt good.
Yeah,
So I think that having your game played by someone else, like even it was just my kids, and they haven't played like a ton of games, so they were loving it. But the
yeah,
fact that I had that like positive feedback was good internally.
yeah. You need
So
that from time to time, man. Like I was on itch and I saw like one person played that like VR mission game that I made, and I was like, nice. I forgot all about this because I
that's
saw
sick.
on itch to like download some
Like some assets or something, or
yeah some assets. I was like, I
code
need
blocks or
these like
whatever.
2D assets to like get
Mhm.
more distracted,
Yeah.
like from like this thing I'm working on. You know?
Yeah. Also from you, and what's helped me a ton when with movement in my own projects, and just leveling up my own like coding or designs philosophies, things like that, are assets, buying assets, because
Yeah,
we've talked a lot, and I've preached a lot about not reinventing the wheel if you don't have to, or if you really don't want to, for like small projects and stuff. Like I'm not gonna make new characters every time, so having like a character with the walk cycle and stuff that I could pop in and just have a good time with my kids was great. So um like every month I've been buying an asset pack, whether
yeah.
it's
Just seeing what's
code,
on sale or
music,
whatever.
or art. I've just been buying it just to support people. And those
You'll end up
asset
like
creators,
me,
man,
bro.
definitely appreciate them. Yeah, no, I have a NAS like in my storage room or
Yeah, I
whatever.
have like a treasure
There's a
trove of stuff
Yeah,
on there now, and like every
yeah,
once in a while, I'll just like pull down some stuff real quick to prototype, and
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, it's like it'll just add like a lot of fine polish to like whatever you're working on. You're like, dang, this looks way better than
yep,
it should.
yep, yep,
And that's there's something about that of like being able to like demo and show other people, especially like non game designers or
game,
people who look
yeah,
game
yeah,
devs, like because I don't know, it's like,
programmer art.
yeah, I don't know if I shared this Reddit post with you, but like one of it came up. They're masters of clickbait. Whereas like, how come game developers don't show more like work in progress, like videos and
Yeah,
gameplay? And
yeah,
like everyone was, I sent you that YouTube video of like the lady who doesn't understand like the rough cut.
yes,
She's like, why is there a time codex at the bottom of this film?
yeah,
She's like, it's a rough cut, lady.
right, right, right,
Yeah.
right.
So yeah, it's there's something about like people in the general populace not understanding like a rough cut or a prototype of a game where you're like, I was looking at like just like block levels, like blocked out levels and stuff. I've been looking at more and more of that. And like, I think most people who see that are just like, I don't get this. What is this? You know?
Yeah, I love seeing block levels. By the way, that's like one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like I understand why Rockstar was so upset when GTA 6 stuff got leaked because it's still a work in progress for them. They're like, this is not complete. Yeah, like
Yeah.
it looked
It
great.
literally,
It looked great, but I know that's not the product they want to show to the public yet. So I
yeah.
understand the frustration.
I think they got like almost like $1 billion tied up in it as well. So it's like anything that's gonna like take away from like that. Like you have like literally almost like what 10 years working on this thing,
Yeah.
$1 billion tied up,
Yep.
and then like you're like, oh, check out like this like quick slice that we found, and it's like, bro, it's not. Oh, bro, like we got so much more we're still
Yeah.
doing. Like a lot of
Yeah.
this stuff is like placeholder. You know, there's a lot of like
Mhm.
UI shit that's like just for devs, like for like debugging purposes. Like
Like the
yeah,
animations for the combat weren't done yet, so they had like the cops just like not smoothly going into animations, but just going to like state like placeholder states, you know.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure they're like the animators are cringing at that and stuff, but you know,
Yeah, they gotta still do like
it's
mocap and all this other stuff, or maybe they have the mocap like
they just
files and
haven't
like they're
added it
just
yet. Yeah.
yeah are polishing them still. Like I know like a lot of people are like, oh, this mocap's gonna put out a lot of like 3D modelers and stuff, but the information's pretty
You still have
rough.
to
Like
clean
when
it
you
up. Yeah.
you have to go in there and like clean up. It's gotten a lot better than what it used to be, but you still have to do like some cleaning and like mess with curves and all this other stuff too. Especially like that AAA like polish and quality. Like you don't want to like me or you could just like flip just like basic mocap shit and throw it in and like,
With the Connect, right?
yeah, like, this
Yeah,
will be
hell
fine.
yeah.
This is good enough. There's like some basic cleaning or whatever, so it's not like jittering around. But yeah,
Can
man.
we, that'd be a fun little kind of weekend thing if we hook. Do you still have your Connect?
Yeah, I got it in the back there somewhere.
Hook that shit up one day and just do some weird like movements or whatever. Make a little thing with it.
Yeah,
Kind of fun.
why not, man?
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
got the
I know you hate.
technology.
I know
I
you
got,
hate rigging, so I mean, I just might.
yeah, I really do.
So we'll see. But yeah, man, I wanted to share one thing that I thought was interesting. So um, I got stuck on a portion um, of the code. I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. The player destroyed state to respawn the characters on hit. Um, I was coding, and I have like an instance destroy working, and I have collisions on, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? It's not working, right? It's working for one player, but not the other. Um,
Yep.
so within Game Maker, you can code within like the player object, like objects, right? You can have
Yep.
code within there, and you can use it to affect other objects. So how I
Sure.
made the death function, like if player one ball or if you're underneath the player two, so if it collides with the player one ball, instance destroy, and then and then the create event happens and it goes to the um, a certain XY on it to spawn, and then a score counter goes up, right? So I'm like, why isn't this shit working? So at first I figured out like what I did wrong because I was on the player instance, not the ball instance. So I'm like, okay, the player's being destroyed but not respawning. How can I get around that? So instead of destroying it, I had it destroy the ball, and I used a with other thing. So it's affecting the ball instead of the player, but I was having it warp back. But I did not put curly bracket close on it, and that's why it
Oh,
wasn't working. So curly bracket close, So I
son of a
started. So that's
bitch.
the project that took an hour and a half at the laundromat could have taken probably an hour.
Yeah.
But that's one of those things where it's like small enough to where it could cause like a bigger headache. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
it was just like a kind of a reminder to proof your shit, test often, because I found it with like because I wasn't testing, I was just going as I went. So test often, proof your stuff. Like I'm pretty good at like not having spelling errors. I think that's a big one in a lot of
Yeah,
things.
I'm horrible with
Um,
the spelling errors, which is why I like lean more towards like visual scripting and
I see.
stuff. Where
I
I'm like,
see. Yeah.
like your curly brackets things that I've like written whole lines of things where I'm like, why isn't this working? And I'm like, go through and I'm like, fuck, two curly brackets missing like halfway through
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you had anything like that recently? Where You're just like, it's so simple, and this is why it wasn't working. Because I know you're working on there's a part where you're stuck on. You're like, I don't know why this shit's not working. So you worked on other things.
Yeah, for me, it was like the Cinemachine camera system in
Okay.
Unity. I was trying to figure out like how to make like Crash Bandicoot like things, and
Mhm.
then they have like a dolly cart. I don't know. It's like big in film where it's basically like a track,
Yes.
and the camera will follow the track.
Yep.
And I was like, I should be able to just like flip to this camera, and it should like be fine.
Hmm.
Uh, and I was looking online. I was trying to find like good tutorials, and like everyone was like doing it through code, and I was like, the whole point of the Cinemachine brain was to not have to do all this shit through code. There has to be like a way simpler way. So I watched like two or three more. Like one person was like, "Oh, you can set up Cinemachine like states and transitions and all this shit." And then like I was reading through the documentation, it was like, yeah, you can just like activate it, and if it has a higher priority, it'll go to that
This is that
camera.
one. Okay.
Yeah, so I just made like big like on enter boxes for like triggers. So you just enter and like it just turns on that item, and then boom, now you're in that camera. And I was like, fuck, dude, this took me like 4.5 hours to like just like check a box. Like and, like I just like wrote like literally like three like lines of code of like on enter, turn on this object, on exit, turn off this object.
Damn.
Because you still have like the main like player camera, and then like when you enter like this box, it turns on the camera. When you leave that box, it turns off that camera. So yeah, yeah. There's always some bullshit like that in game design and stuff where you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know, like you don't know what you don't know, and then it's like you have like a hunch of like where problems might be, like especially for like things like damage and all this stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like trying to get more and more into like almost like component style designing of things where like everything's interchangeable, like more
Sure.
modular.
Sure.
I think tutorials really messed me up because like they'll just do everything for that tutorial, so it's like everything's on one thing
Super
for one.
rigid. Yeah.
Yeah, very rigid, very like to solve a problem instead of being like this isn't very like scalable and expandable, and it becomes like a fucking mess and a nightmare. Like if you try and change one thing, like somewhere else, like it'll break everything else because it's calling on a script that doesn't exist or whatever. And
Sure.
you're like, I
Sure.
don't need to inflict damage on everything. I just want the one thing, you know?
Yeah. 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 Interesting. Interesting. So what's your we're near the end here. What's your goal for this next week here, if any?
On average, I've been doing about like a level or two, a level and a half like a week. So I'm hoping to get at least like 2 more levels done. Like I said, there's only like 4 left, so
Hmm.
I'm hoping to do that. And like I need to polish up the other stages I have at some point, but I'm just trying
Okay.
to like block out and do all of them in like a huge batch, and then go through and like build out the levels. Uh, so yeah, I think at least like 2 levels. I want to get that done.
Okay.
Maybe I could like power through and get all 4 done, and then like start actually working on building out the levels. I'm using this great tool. I think it's called like World Prefab.
Yep.
Unless you just like drop in lines of coins and everything else,
Sweet.
which yeah, it is sweet,
Sweet.
man. What about you? Any goals for the week? Any
Yeah. 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 So
what's
my
like Gimp's ambitions?
so my kid's auto runner game. I think I told you the last time I mentioned that game on the pod here.
Yeah, you said you want to just kind of release what you had at some point.
Yeah, yeah, and that's still the play.
Yeah,
For
you're
the
like
month, just
the
show
big
what I have.
caveat was like finish up like what you had for your actual job, and then when you're
Yep.
clear of that, like start
Yep.
getting this other part done, man.
Yep. So my actual job, I'm done with that project, which is a huge fucking weight off my shoulders.
Nice.
So which leads to more time to game dev and
Yeah, or
you know,
play games.
or play games. Yeah, but
Ah.
I've had a creative spark in the back of my head for quite a number of weeks, so it's been good. So I scrapped a lot of what I had from the auto runner just because I don't remember. I honestly don't
Yeah.
remember what I was doing. So I'm starting from
Did-
scratch, not scratch because I have assets now.
Yeah,
So I got the run cycle that I made. That's actually still really nice. So I'm
Yeah.
using that, and then I altered it for like each kid. So you can pick 2 different characters: my daughter or my son. My daughter has been like, because they watch the Sonic movie. When Sonic runs super fast, he does like the Naruto run. His arms go behind him
Yeah.
or whatever. My
it's less animation, dude.
my daughter is like you go faster like Sonic doing that, right? So
Yeah, of course.
so she'll do that. So in the runners, I have the animation going when after like a couple of seconds of no obstacles or whatever, the arms go back, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Nice, man.
So and for my son, he has been doing this like because they've been like racing each other. You know, the snow's starting to melt, so they've been kind of outside running around. Um,
Yeah.
he's been doing like a startup, so he's like running in place first and then going.
All
So
right.
it's like okay, so maybe I could do like like because you know the auto runner is gonna be like a mobile style game, so you can tap to like jump or whatever. I was like, if I do for my son, if I do a tap and hold, he can do like this to charge up and then just zoom. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
a little
Like
sonic charge.
yeah, exactly. So just kind of like my kids like current quirks, you know, this is like such a dad like kind of a thing to save it on the pod.
Yeah.
You're like, oh Jesus, no one's here but your fucking kids, dude. But you're right. But this is it's just it is what it is. You know, this is what you
It's
make
just
with
life, man.
what you know. So working on that. So I got like the the Sonic cycle done for my daughter. So I'm gonna do the little charge cycle for my son, and then you know start redoing how the level was created because you know it's an auto runner. And now
Yeah.
that I refresh myself on just how fucking Game Maker works, I can lay out the blocks. So I have the assets, so I feel like I'm
Alright.
at a better point now than I was then.
Are you
So
leaving yourself comments and stuff like in your code?
yes. Now I am.
Yeah.
Now I
Uh,
am.
That's one big thing I've been doing more and more of. Like, I don't know, like it started with like Photoshop files and stuff. Cause like before I do like everything in layers and I would just like leave the layers all unlabeled because I'm like, it's only me working on this
Yep.
project. And then I was
Yep.
watching other artists and they're like, always label your layers because you're going to have to hand them off to somebody else. And I was like, I don't have to do that. It's just me. And then I realized like I have to hand it off to me in the future. And me in the future don't know what the fuck I was thinking like back
Yep.
in this time, you know?
Yep.
So yeah, I've been getting better and better at like just really like in detail, like commenting things. Like I'll like code out like blocks of stuff. And then I'm like, all right, let me just like put in generally what things do so I can like get an idea by looking at it and then be like, all right, I'm pretty sure this is what this does. And then like I'll have it like very well commented out. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's weird.
Yeah. Did you use those voice clips I gave you at all?
Not yet. I have
Okay.
them. It's for the
Okay.
tutorial level. Like I don't go backwards, bro. Only forwards. Like the tutorial level was like 2 weeks ago. I wanted to work on it.
For sure.
I couldn't get anyone to do the voice except for you.
Yeah.
You have to be the wise sage turtle. So now I'm gonna throw that in there. I was looking at like Fiverr and stuff too. I was like, oh, maybe I should just throw some money at this and like hire somebody. And then I was like, oh, ask around friends and family first. You know?
Yeah, the easiest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out Intoxicated Fable. Killed the voice acting game, dude.
Yeah,
Loved it.
he's changed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I showed the professor that finally, and he was losing his mind, dude. I was like, I'm really making something here, dude. This is crazy. This is kind of like probably the same feeling you got like when you showed your kids like in the
Yeah.
the game you had working on the other day,
Yeah.
where they're
Yeah.
playing it, and you're like, yeah, this is a video game, shit.
Yep. Yep. So like I told you, like playing it with the controller feels like a actual game. So just ending it here, but one of the things I have like the Genesis replica controllers that came out, you know, like Sega Genesis or Mega Drive for those us in the UK or outside of the States. The 6-button pad. It's my favorite controller of all time. So I've taken it to the point to where I'm making something using that pad to play the game.
Yeah,
It's
a good pad.
I don't know what it does, man. It just inspires me more, you know, because as a kid I wanted to make a game for the Genesis. You know, obviously I'm 30 years too late, but you know,
I think for me it's the Xbox controller. Like
Sure.
if I could get a Duke controller, because like that's when I got
Hyperkin
into
makes one.
modding. Yeah.
Yep.
I got into like deep modding and stuff where like my old Xbox was like unmodded, and then like we're going in and changing Halo 1 files to like add flamethrowers and rockets and
Yep.
all kinds of stuff. Just like going in there and be like, how much of this code can I change? You know, that idea.
Yeah.
Something about it.
Good times for sure.
She.
All right, brother. I think that
All
does
right,
it
man.
today. Super Bowls today. Who you got?
I don't even know the Super Bowl was today.
There it is. I feel the Eagles will win. I don't give a shit about either team though. I feel the Eagles will win, and whatever.
Who are they playing for everybody
Chiefs.
else?
Chiefs.
All right, yeah. I'm surprised you didn't take the Chiefs.
Wow. Nah.
Like, share, subscribe. We out.
For the Cabo Wombo podcast, I'm Mr. Gimpy. That's
Chipmunk.
we're out of here. Like, share, subscribe. See you next time. We out.
Peace.